Plumbers and electricians will be the next millionaires. That doesn't sound like a line from a late-night hustle culture pitch or a self-help guru's seminar. It's not an inspirational platitude. It's a direct quote from Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, the man in the leather jacket whose company is quite literally minting the silicon chips that power the entire global AI boom. While the world is mesmerized by algorithms that can write poetry and create art, we've forgotten a fundamental truth. AI doesn't live in the cloud. That's just a marketing term for a very real, very physical place. AI lives in buildings, sprawling football field-sized boxes of concrete and steel that drink as much power as a small city and move entire rivers of chilled water just to keep from melting down. No electricians to bend the conduit and pull the high-voltage feeders. There is no AI, no pipe fitters to weld the chilled water loops. There is no uptime, no millwrights to set the city block-sized generators. There is no power period. In the next 20 minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain on the blue-collar gold rush of the 21st century. We'll break down exactly why the most advanced industry in human history is completely bottlenecked by the skilled trades. We'll look at the real pay stubs, the actual numbers, and a step-by-step path from zero experience to a six-figure income without a dollar of student debt. And finally, we'll tackle the big question. What can robots really do on a chaotic job site, and what can they definitely not? This isn't a story about the past. It's about the future that's being built right now with calloused hands and a tool belt. To understand why the man selling the world's most advanced chips is talking about pipe wrenches, you have to understand the physical footprint of a single thought, not a human thought, an artificial one. When you ask a large language model a question, it's not magic, it's math. Blisteringly fast calculations happening across thousands of interconnected GPUs, and every single one of those calculations generates heat, a staggering amount of it. Silicon, it turns out, needs steel. It needs copper, concrete, water, and most importantly, it needs human hands. As the demand for AI compute grows at an exponential rate, the limiting factor isn't just the number of GPUs NVIDIA can produce. The real bottleneck is the physical world, power delivery, cooling infrastructure, and the finite number of people qualified to install and maintain them. This isn't some fringe theory. The titans of the tech and finance industries have been saying it bluntly for years, but it seems few were listening. Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, has openly admitted that the growth of their Azure cloud service is directly capped by how fast they can physically build data centers. They have the money, they have the demand, they don't have enough skilled labor to build the buildings fast enough. Listen to Ford's CEO, Jim Farley. During the push to electrify their auto plants, he stated he could double the production of the F-150 Lightning if he just had enough electricians to retool his factories. The bottleneck to the EV revolution wasn't batteries, it was the people who could safely handle the high-voltage infrastructure required to build them. And, perhaps most tellingly, listen to Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager. He told investors in a public letter that the shortage of skilled trades is the single biggest threat to the massive infrastructure investments they are making. When the man controlling $10 trillion tells you the biggest risk to his returns is a lack of welders and electricians, you should probably pay attention. Here's the practical translation of all that C-suite talk. Every single watt of power that feeds an AI model has a long journey. It travels from a substation, through switchgear the size of a shipping container, down bus ducts as big around as your torso, into a power distribution unit, and finally to the server rack. Simultaneously, for every kilowatt of heat those servers generate, a gallon of chilled water must be precisely pumped through a labyrinth of pipes, from chillers the size of school buses, through valves and cooling units, absorbing that heat and carrying it away. Every connection, every weld, every termination in that journey was made by a human being who installed it, tested it, and signed off on it. That is the choke point. And in any system, the money always concentrates at the choke point. Picture a building with a 1 million square foot footprint. It's not an office. It's not a factory in the traditional sense. It's a fortress for data. Inside, the air hums with a constant deafening roar from tens of thousands of server fans and massive computer room air handlers. The air is kept at a precise temperature and humidity, blasted down into a raised floor and up through perforated tiles to cool the endless rows of server racks. Above your head is a universe of infrastructure, miles upon miles of copper and fiber optic wiring organized in immaculate cable trays. Industrial piping, color-coded and labeled, snakes through the entire facility. This single building can pull over 150 megawatts of power. That's enough to power 100,000 homes, and this is just one building. On a campus of 5, in a region with dozens of these campuses. Now, scale that across the hundreds of new hyperscale data centers planned or expanding this decade. Global spending on data center construction is projected to skyrocket toward an almost unbelievable $7 trillion by 2030. For context, that's more than the entire annual GDP of Japan and Germany combined. You don't need 5 different examples to understand the scale of this. Just know this: wherever cheap land, abundant fiber optic cable, and massive power lines align, a boom is happening. And in those boom towns, wages for qualified tradespeople are spiking as giant tech contractors get into frantic bidding wars for crews. They poach teams from each other. They offer massive sign-on bonuses, travel per diems, and overtime packages that can make your eyes water. They are desperately trying to throw money at a problem that money alone can't solve overnight: a generational shortage of skilled hands. So what does this actually look like for your bank account? Let's put the abstract numbers aside and build a realistic career ladder. Keep in mind, these numbers can vary based on your city, union scales, and how much you're willing to work. But in high-demand data center markets, this is not only possible, it's common. Step 1, the apprentice. Year 1. You start here. You're earning while you're learning. You'll spend part of your time in a classroom learning electrical theory or the physics of fluid dynamics, and the rest of your time on the job site, applying that knowledge under the guidance of a journeyman. You are literally being paid to get an education. Your starting wage is around $23 to $32 per hour. On a 40-hour week, that's a respectable start. But nobody in construction works just 40 hours during a boom. With time and a half for overtime and often a per diem of $100 to $150 a day for travel to remote sites, a first-year apprentice can realistically clear $55,000 to $75,000 a year. Your net worth is already positive. Step 2, the journeyman. 3 to 5 years in, after completing your apprenticeship, you pass a state-certified test and become a licensed journeyman. You are now a pro. You can work independently, read complex blueprints, and you're responsible for the quality and safety of your own work. Your hourly rate jumps significantly to anywhere from $38 to $55 per hour base. Now, the real money kicks in. Data center projects often run 24/7. Working a night shift can add a 15% differential. Weekend work is often double time. It's not uncommon for a journeyman on a critical project to be working 50 or 60 hours a week. At that rate, you're looking at an annual income of $90,000 to $140,000. Step 3, the foreman and master. 5+ years in, you've proven your skills and your leadership. You're no longer just responsible for your own work. You're running a crew of 5, 10, or even 20 electricians or pipe fitters. You are the critical link between the engineer's plans and the physical installation. Your hourly rate now climbs to between $55 and $85 per hour. Running large crews on complex, high-stakes jobs can push your income to $120,000 to $190,000 a year, especially with completion bonuses and other premiums for bringing the job in on time and under budget. You are now in the top 10% of income earners in the country. Step 4, the owner-operator, the path to a million. This is where you build real, life-changing wealth. The jump from employee to owner is the biggest leap, but it has the biggest reward. Let's say after a decade in the field, you start your own small contracting business. You buy 2 used vans, hire 4 reliable technicians you've worked with before, and get your master contractor's license and insurance. You focus on a specialty niche, maybe fiber optic termination or commercial HVAC controls. A small disciplined shop like this can generate $600,000 to $900,000 in annual revenue. The key is disciplined scheduling, accurate bidding, and efficient billing. With a healthy net profit margin of 20 to 35%, the owner can net several $100,000 a year. A few successful years, and you are a millionaire. Not from a lucky stock pick, but from building a real business that provides a critical service. Notice the two wealth levers here that go beyond just the hourly wage. First, the aggressive use of overtime, per diem, and special premiums. And second, the transition to business ownership. A small, well-run electrical or mechanical shop can net incredible margins without needing a dime of venture capital or granting a single stock option. For the last two generations, we've been told a single story. The only path to a successful life runs through a four-year university degree. Anything else was seen as a backup plan, a consolation prize. It's time to look at that narrative with fresh eyes, not as a culture war, but as a simple financial and risk analysis. A four-year degree can absolutely be a great investment, but it's an investment that front-loads all of the cost and all of the risk. The average student today graduates with over $30,000 in debt. That's 4 years of no income or very little income, while accumulating a liability that will follow you for decades. Your cash flow is deeply negative for your first 4 years out of high school. An apprenticeship flips that script entirely. You earn while you learn. Your cash flow is positive from almost day one. You accumulate skills and certifications that directly and immediately increase your hourly rate. By the time your friend is graduating from college with a history degree and $40,000 in debt, you, as a fourth-year apprentice, have already earned over $200,000 and have zero school-related debt. But the most crucial difference might be the one Jensen Huang was hinting at: the vulnerability to automation. Many entry-level white-collar tasks, the very jobs a recent college graduate might be aiming for, are the first in line to be augmented or outright automated by the AI systems these data centers are built to house. Data entry, basic market analysis, routine legal research, copywriting, even basic coding, these are tasks that large language models are getting remarkably good at. But you cannot automate brazing a high-pressure copper line in a tight ceiling bay. You cannot ask ChatGPT to troubleshoot a faulty variable frequency drive on a 500-ton chiller. Not cheaply, not safely, and not in the chaotic, unpredictable environment of a real-world building. The physical world has a built-in defense against its digital counterpart. But what about robots? Won't they just take these jobs too? It's a fair question. And if you watch curated videos from robotics labs, it seems plausible. Robots are impressive in controlled, predictable environments, but a real job site is the exact opposite of that. Real job sites are wet, hot, cold, muddy, cramped, out of level, and constantly changing. The blueprints rarely match the reality on the ground, especially in renovation or retrofit work. Success in the trades isn't just about following instructions, it's about improvisation, problem solving, and a kind of spatial intelligence that is incredibly difficult to code. This is a concept in robotics known as Moravec's paradox. It's the observation that it's relatively easy for computers to perform tasks that humans find intellectually hard, like advanced math, but it's extraordinarily difficult for computers to perform tasks that humans find easy, like picking up a wrench, navigating a cluttered room, or distinguishing a specific pipe from a bundle of identical-looking pipes. The truly hard problems for robots are dexterity, improvisation, liability, and cost. A humanoid robot that could truly replicate the skills of a master electrician would likely cost millions of dollars. Who is liable when that robot makes a mistake and causes a catastrophic arc flash? What is the insurance policy on that? Field parity for complex, unpredictable tasks is likely years, if not decades, away. Automation will come to the trades, but it will almost certainly come as a tool, not a replacement. Think exoskeletons to help lift heavy materials, or robotic mules to carry tools, not a robot that can diagnose a complex controls issue. If you start an apprenticeship today, you will be a seasoned, high-earning journeyman with a decade of experience, long before a robot is even insurable on a chaotic construction site. So how do you actually start? It's more straightforward than you might think. Here are 4 moves to start clean with no debt trap. First, pick a trade that fits your brain and your body. Do some research. Electrical work is the nervous system of a building. It's about power, data, and controls. It requires strong math skills, attention to detail, and a deep respect for safety. Plumbing and pipe fitting is the circulatory system. It deals with water, chemicals, gases, and the complex systems that move them. It requires precision, an understanding of physics, and strong hands-on problem-solving skills. HVAC and sheet metal is the respiratory system. It's about air quality, temperature control, and the massive equipment that keeps buildings comfortable and safe. It's a blend of mechanical, electrical, and refrigeration knowledge. Millwrighting is like being a surgeon for industrial machinery. You install, align, and maintain massive, precise equipment like turbines, generators, and conveyor systems. It is a trade of incredible precision. Second, apply directly to a union apprenticeship or a reputable non-union program. Look up your local IBEW for electricians or the UA for plumbers and pipe fitters. These organizations have structured multi-year programs that are the gold standard. Or research large non-union contractors in your area that have their own certified training programs. The key is that you earn from day one, often with benefits, while getting your classroom instruction paid for. Third, be boring and reliable. This sounds simple, but it's the secret weapon. Show up 15 minutes early every single day. Pass the drug test. Have your own basic hand tools and your personal protective equipment. Bring a notebook and a pen and actually use them. In an industry starved for dependability, your reputation for simply being a reliable professional will become your most valuable asset. The person who shows up on time, sober, and ready to learn will get the best opportunities every single time. Fourth, at Journeyman, learn to negotiate like a pro. Your value is high and you should be compensated for it. Don't just accept the hourly rate. Argue for per diem on any site that's more than an hour from your home. Negotiate for overtime to be paid after 8 hours in a day, not just after 40 hours in a week. Ask for shift differentials, tool allowances, and premiums for any extra certifications you earn, like in welding or fiber optics. These small additions can add tens of thousands of dollars to your annual income. Now, let's be perfectly clear. This is not Instagram money. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. The rewards are immense, but they are earned. You should expect to travel for work, sometimes living out of a hotel for months at a time to be on a major project. You will face brutally early mornings, long hours, and harsh weather. This is a physically demanding job, and you have to learn to work smart to protect your body for a long career. Safety is not a suggestion. It's a culture that keeps you alive. If you decide to go independent and start your own shop, the risks multiply. You have to be disciplined. You must keep 3 to 6 months of operating cash on hand for slow periods. You are now responsible for tracking your own insurance, workers' comp, truck maintenance, and all the administrative headaches of running a business. If you don't, your profit margin will vanish overnight. The upside is real, but the discipline has to be just as real. When a hyperscale data center lands in a small, rural community, the economic boom doesn't stop at the construction fence line. It ripples outward. Diners and local restaurants suddenly have a breakfast and lunch rush they've never seen before. Apartment rents and local real estate values rise. The local community college gets new funding to build out its vocational programs to create a local talent pipeline. The multi-billion-dollar investment creates a gravitational pull, lifting the entire local economy. The skills you build working on that high-tech site are transferable. After the data center is built, you'll have the expertise to work on the most complex commercial and residential projects in your region for the rest of your career. The boom creates a tide that lifts all boats. Whenever an opportunity this big becomes clear, the first question people ask is always, did I miss it? Is it too late to get in? The short, emphatic answer is no. We are in the very early innings of this transformation. The demand for AI compute is not slowing down. It's accelerating, and the skilled labor gap isn't closing. It's widening. According to the Associated Builders and Contractors, the construction industry needs to attract more than 500,000 additional workers this year alone just to meet current demand. This is compounded by what's called the silver tsunami, a massive wave of highly experienced baby boomer tradespeople who are retiring every single day. They are taking decades of knowledge with them, creating a vacuum of experience that desperately needs to be filled. If you start an apprenticeship now, you will graduate or journey out, as they say in the trades, right into the peak of this massive build-out. You will be a licensed professional at a moment of maximum demand, which means you'll be able to command premium rates for your skills. The next decade of technological progress won't just belong to the coders in Silicon Valley. It will belong to the licensed pros with vans, permits, and pride in their work. It belongs to the people who can show up when the power goes out, when the water pipe bursts, when the machine breaks down. The digital world, for all its wonders, is built on a foundation of physical reality, and the gatekeepers of that reality are the men and women in the skilled trades. If you can power it, cool it, or pipe it safely, you will never be last in line for a job. You will be building the future, one connection at a time. Jensen Huang was right. The tool belt is the new briefcase.